Hello! Welcome to the Rotary Club of Cincinnati on this third day of November. It's another great day at Club 17, the 17th club out of 46,000 in the known universe. We have another great program today. We welcome the Corporate Member Roundtable and a panel discussion about what lies ahead in our economic future. But we're going to first start the meeting off with our national anthem, led by John Farmeyer, accompanied by Janet Metzelaar, followed by the invocation and four-way test by Steve Dreyfel. Take it away, John. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Good job.
Thanks, President Steve. Let's bow our heads. Heavenly Father, you continue to bless us by bringing us together each Thursday in this wonderful venue to share in fellowship, good food, and to hear great speakers that help us learn and grow. God above, we thank you that we live in a country where we are free to choose our professions, become small business owners, or work for a large company. We thank you for those individuals who elect to start a small business, that they are willing to take on the risk associated with starting a new venture. We ask that during uncertain economic times, that you guide and direct the owners so they are successful, so they can provide employment and opportunities for others. We ask that you guide and direct those who run large publicly held companies, so that the decisions they make are ones that you would have them make. They offer many opportunities, and we are thankful for the many companies that have chosen to establish their headquarters in our greater Cincinnati area. Heavenly Father, we ask that you are with our panel today, and thank you that they are willing to share their knowledge and expertise as we navigate the current economic environment. Our panel believes in the Rotary mission, and by being here today, it is evident that each panel member puts service above self. Amen. And now please join me in the four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thank you. You may be seated.
Now we welcome Nancy Reese to introduce our guests and prospective members. Miss Nancy.
Thank you, President Steve. We're always excited to have prospective members and guests here. And so when I call your name, if you will please stand up so we can give you a warm Rotary welcome, I'd appreciate it. Oops, that's worse. The first person on our list is Dan Emsick. He is from Mount St. Joseph University, and he is the guest of President James Williams. Welcome, Dan. The next person is Will Hand. He is from Formica, and I imagine he's a guest of his wife, Nancy. And welcome. Our next person is Courtney Clear. I'm sorry, Courtney. What is the proper pronunciation? Clyer, thank you. Courtney Clyer from Thomas More University, and she is a guest of Angie Hawk. Welcome. Next, we have Dr. Reno Munda, who is a retired vascular surgeon, and he is the guest of Ariel and Hux Miller. Welcome, Dr. Reno. And last but not least, we have Michelle Starr. She is from B. Brown Brave, LLC, and she is a guest of Doug Bolton. Welcome. Thank you all, and thank you for those that brought your guests and prospective members.
Welcome, guests. We hope you come back and join us in service. Now we have 2 new member introductions. As much fun as it is to have guests, it's really fun to introduce new members. If the new members and their sponsors would mind making their way to the stage, we're going to have first Doug Bolton introduce his friend, Andy Zahn, followed by Esteban Calle introducing his friend, Chelsea.
So I'm totally not prepared to introduce Andy Zahn, but Andy's a longtime friend. Predominantly, our relationship is through the scouting program. Both of us are Eagle Scouts. Andy was employed here by the Dan Beard Council in Cincinnati. So on my board position at the Dan Beard Council, got to know him very well. And then we have this very ancient, archaic rule at the Boy Scouts that you can't ascend to the top leadership position in the council that you're in. So he had to go away to St. Louis, and he became the second in command at the council in St. Louis. Fortunately, we had a transition in our Scout executive right before the pandemic began, and we were able to recruit Andy to come back to Cincinnati and be our CEO at the Dan Beard Council. He's an Iowa native, but he has spent most of his time here in Cincinnati, and he and his wife have a daughter named Reagan. Let's give him a warm Rotary welcome.
Chelsea is such a valuable member of our team. She's a selfless leader at heart. Currently, Chelsea serves as a branch manager at First Commonwealth Bank at our Norwood office. She brings 16 years of amazing customer service. She is so energetic and fun person to be around, always looking for ways to help friends and clients alike. I am very happy to see her join Rotary and look forward to the amazing work she will accomplish. Her favorite drink is water. Favorite snack is almonds and veggie trays. Favorite dessert is ice cream. Favorite food is steak. Favorite retail store is Ulta. And favorite sport team is Bengals. Welcome, Rotarian Chelsea Jensen.
And we're going to shift to the right, shift to our right, just a little bit. There you go. Perfect. Thank you. Chelsea and Andy, welcome. It's such a pleasure to expand the club and the service we can do together. Now, well, that's right. Well, we could get a spontaneous round of applause. So thank you, Paula. Good to see you back, Paula. Esteban, I've asked Esteban to stay up here because we have 2 important committee updates, and Esteban is going to give one of those updates regarding the World Affairs Committee fundraiser, followed by the 4-way test speech contest announcement from Lori Quinlivan. Esteban, you're up.
Thank you, President Steve. Buenas tardes, Club 17. That's good afternoon. Who wants to celebrate our global impact? Please, yep. Please join the Rotary Club of Cincinnati World's Affairs Committee on Monday, November 7th from 6 to 8 p.m. at Vance Studio to learn how your club advances many Rotary humanitarian goals overseas, how Rotary District and global grants multiply your gifts, and how you can build your club's future impact. Take pride in your club's power for good as you hear a lively update led by the World Community Service co-chairs Chuck Martz and John Farmeyer, and network with fellow Rotarians who are working on international projects. We know that Club 17 loves a challenge. Our goal is to raise $30,000 by year end, 50% for current projects and 50% for the club's international endowment. I wanted to highlight that there will be a dollar for dollar match on the first $15,000 donated between this meeting and the event. Some Rotarians right in this room have committed to a $15,000 match and challenge you, other members in the club, to help. So, how to give? We can do that by check, credit card, or cash. Please come and enjoy delicious foods, drinks, photos of fellow Rotarians at work worldwide, generous artwork, and an unparalleled view of the riverfront at Vance Studio historic townhouse. RSVP today through DACDV or email the office. Also, we are looking for new opportunities in the Western Hemisphere, so more Cincinnati Rotarians and Rotaract members can participate. This event is generously sponsored by Flynn and Company. Thank you. Back to you.
Hi, I'm here to talk about the four-way test speech committee. We are having our very first committee meeting next Thursday after lunch at 1:30. And so for anybody who would like to join us this year, we would love to have you. Send out an email to people who've been on the committee before, and a lot of people are overcommitted this year to their other Rotary things. So we do have some openings, and we'd love to have some new members. Andy Zahn said he thought it sounded like a great thing, so he's going to do it. We have Lydia Steck, who signed up. So why should you be on our committee? Well, first of all, it's a great way to find out what teenagers are really thinking these days and what they're passionate about. We help coach them on a topic that they want to deliver a speech on. It's flexible. You only sign up to go to a coaching session that you can do with your schedule, and all we ask is that you do 2 coaching sessions between now and February. We have our contest at the end of February. Our busiest months for coaching are January and February. But the number one reason to do this is you can really impact a student's life. And I have one good example. So I don't know if you'll remember a couple contests ago, our winner was from Clark. Her name was Carrington Rainey. And she did her speech on the importance of having empathy for people with mental illness, which affected her mom and her sister. Well, she won our contest, and she's now a Gen 1 scholar at University of Cincinnati. That means she's first in her family to attend college. And I looked her up, and there's an article about her in the UC News, and here's what it said. This is a quote from Carrington in the article. My sister and I were 9 years apart. She was diagnosed with schizophrenia when she was 15. We really had to look out for each other. The article goes on to say, the experience had an impact on Rainey, who wrote a speech for a Rotary Club program while in high school about her sister's experience. A supportive high school teacher encouraged Rainey to give the speech, which netted her top honors in her high school and during a county-wide competition. And it also gave Rainey newfound confidence. So that's what it's all about, because as we coach these kids to give their speech, even if they don't win the contest or win their in-school contest, it's going to help them, throughout their life with whatever they go into. So we hope you'll join the committee. You can contact me and, or I'm sure contact Christy and she'll get you to me. Thank you.
Lori, the four-way speech contest is one of the best meetings of the year, thanks to your committee's hard work, but the hard work of those young people, just like the young lady who you just reported on. So I look forward to the contest and join the committee. Lori, is that committee meeting today, or is that a future Thursday? Next Thursday, thank you for the clarification. We now have an exciting conclusion to a project that has been 18 months in the making. The Environmental Sustainability Committee partnered with Gamble Montessori, a Cincinnati public school, for a garden project many months ago. And that garden project became so much more. And here to tell us all about the exciting conclusion of the Gamble Montessori Outdoor Classroom is Chair Jody DeVoyd.
Before I get started, I wanted to, where's Melinda Kelly? There you are. Melinda, I want to say thank you because you put me in charge of the committee with Deborah Schultz, and it was a personal growth opportunity for me. For many of the during the time of the 18 months that it took to complete the project, I was out of my comfort zone, and I made it through it with the support of everyone in this room, and I just have to tell you, it feels good. Thank you. I'm going to move is this the?
It is to push the big green button.
The big green button. Okay. This is our timeline for the project in general, but before we got to the beginning of the timeline that starts June 2021, there was a lot of work behind the scenes. So in June of 2020, it was COVID. And during COVID, Rotary International decided that Rotary in general should have another pillar. And that pillar of support was for the environment. So Brent LaBarre, who was the current president at the time, and President-elect Melinda Kelly, formed a task force, which was with Deborah Schultz, myself, who were co-chairs, Ariel Miller, Sam Schutte, and Brian Miller. And what we did is we vetted out opportunities that were in the Cincinnati area that would help support the environment. In the end, we ended up choosing number 6. Well, we had a vote with the club, and it supports number 6 of the Rotary International guidelines. And I'm going to read that to you because then you'll understand how we got to the pergola project. So number 6 for Rotary International and the environment, it says that we want you to support education to promote behaviors that protect the environment. Supporting the environmental education programming in schools that align with local government curriculum. And number 2, promoting community-based environmental education, educational awareness, and advocacy initiatives and strategies to facilitate and engage behavior change to support environmentally sustainable living, environmental protection, and sustainable development. So that's how we got to July 2021. So we took these principles and then applied them to the community. So we reached out to Green Umbrella, which is an alliance, Imago, which is a educational group that supports education of young in the area, and then through those 2 organizations and Cincinnati Public, we chose Gamble Montessori as our place to start. And what we did is during the year, we did several projects on the grounds at Gamble Montessori. We put in a gravel path. We helped with the raised beds. We weeded. We helped with an outdoor round log classroom that they use in the back. And then Melissa and Melinda Kelly were talking, and Melinda asked Melissa Ridley, who is here at our table. Melissa, come on up. Melissa's the Gamble Montessori principal. Samantha Mesmer, who's our resource coordinator on the west side and with the YMCA. Come on up. And Beth Schlick, who is a Montessori teacher, ages 3 to 6 at Gamble Montessori. So these are 3 of the people that use this outdoor pergola on a regular basis. But it started again back in June 2021 when Melinda Kelly asked Melissa Ridley, okay, what is one of your key desires for the school? And Melissa stated that she wanted to see an outdoor space that would welcome students, provide shelter and a gathering place, and be able to be used as a true outdoor classroom for the children and environmental education. So then it began. And then we have people like, where is she? Ariel Miller, can you stand up? Hux, can you stand up? Jim Neinhardt, can you stand up? These were our big fundraisers who were out in the community fundraising. We also had Club 17, the Rotary Foundation, and also the Homan Foundation, who were big supporters of the fundraising to put this together. So throughout the year, from July 2021 to basically June 2022, we did many things to make the project come together. Mike Lavallee, you're here. Can you stand up? He's back here. Mike Lavallee, he put together the picture or the framing of what can happen at, when people work together, and he went out and researched and came back with a company called Cincinnati Pergola, who we could tap into to produce and erect a structure at Gamble Montessori. Mike then went on to work with the foundation, and that brought Larry Cunningham in. Are you here, Larry? Oh, there he is, right there. Larry was key in bringing together Cincinnati Public Schools and Cincinnati Pergola so that we could get the structure completed from the paperwork standpoint, because there's a lot of details that go on. So as time went on, in June of this year, we signed the papers and were committed to putting the structure up. And then from July to just this past 2 weeks ago, we got the structure put up and dedicated. So, Melissa, did you want to say anything? Yes, come on up.
Yes. So, yes, I just would, honestly, from the bottom of my heart, and I'm speaking on behalf of my whole community, I just want to thank you. I want to thank everybody who was involved in this project, especially for our children, because they're our future, and they'll have so much use out of this, not just this year, but for years to come. So please know that you being a part of this project has really influenced many lives, and for many, many, many years to come. So thank you. Thank you very much.
And I'm going to show a little picture of the erection of the structure. Oh, before that, here's our major contributors. Everyone's listed. If I've missed anybody, please let me know. But it was it really brought together the community on the west side, and it was just heartwarming to do the project. Okay, where's the video? Okay, sorry. So if you have any questions, I'll be here after the meeting, but it's certainly a beautiful structure. Thank you.
I wanted to give you all just a token of our appreciation.
Okay.
Jody, what a tremendous achievement. You bring in the public sector, the private sector, the community around Gamble Montessori together to do something like this. A remarkable collaboration and a lot of opportunity for personal growth. Communication, right? And I guess also thank you to our photographer, Ed Atchison, who set up the time-lapse photography. You know, it was 10 hours in the making for 30 seconds of action, but you know what? Thank you, Ed. It really brought it home. I think I called you once and you said, oh, sure, I'll do that, no problem. I'll be there tomorrow at 6 a.m. with a truckload of equipment, and you're kind of amazing. All right, so time for some announcements. We have some birthdays to celebrate. Michael Schatzman, Russell Smith, Gary Kendall, George Verkamp, Chad Niter, Shane Dixon, Bill Stilley, happy birthday. I think I know Bill is here, and I think Chad is here, and I think I saw Gary, so happy birthday, everyone. Who else is here? Russ, are you here too, Russell? Happy birthday, Russell, you snuck in. All right, split the pot. All right, today's pot is $37. The rolling pot is $799. So we are raising money for membership development. And the lucky winner of the $39, last four digits, 3146. 314, if you are, hey, Bob McElroy. Let's see if you... Were you selling tickets today, Bob? So close, Bob, so close. So the pot continues to grow. So many of you saw the wish tree, the Christmas wish tree out on the check-in desk. That means Christmas season is coming for the Condon School Christmas Party. Roselawn Condon School Christmas Party. It's almost that time of year. It's the Christmas party and holiday party, one of our most cherished traditions, and for Rotarians and the students, the beginning of the Christmas season. 3 things to remember. Save the date for the party, Tuesday, December 6th, 12:30 to 3 p.m. Tuesday the 6th, 12:30 to 3. Sign up with chairs Bob and Mary Brandstetter. Bob and Mary Brandstetter, you want to give a wave? I see Mary. Is Bob here today? Okay, just Mary today. Thank you, Mary. Mary, you're going to be at the check-in desk for the next several weeks recruiting volunteers to come to the party for a variety of tasks. It's all joyful stuff, right? We're helping celebrate Christmas to needy children. Third thing to remember, grab a gift or 2 from the giving tree. We have 100 kids who are counting on us. Many Rotarians have signed up for the event in the fall committee fair. So thank you for those who did. We will host nearly 100 students and 35 to 40 school staff. So more help is needed. Co-chairs Bob and Mary Brandstetter will be outside the meetings all this month if you want to sign up to help. We'd like to make the event extra special with Rotarians in character costumes as well. We need some additional volunteers to help guide the children to Santa and back to the tables to open their gifts. Please consider signing up to help, and the children's wish tags are available. With the timing of Thanksgiving, we need to collect all of the gifts by November 23rd. The gifts should be wrapped with the wish tag taped to the top. and return to Christie by Wednesday the 23rd. So Christmas comes early at the Cincinnati office. Christie, the 23rd, right? Lastly, just today, we learned that tragedy has struck at the Condon School. A child, little Jai Anna Young, passed away on Tuesday. The cause of death has not been disclosed. Jai Anna has attended our Christmas party for the last several years, and she is on the wish tree. The whole school is going to need extra love this year, and lots of prayers for Jai Anna and the Young family. So let's make the Condon School Christmas party extra special. In much lighter news, upcoming hands-on service projects. We have 2 upcoming hands-on service projects working with the same Imago who helped us out at Gamble. Imago is doing work at Roberts Academy in Price Hill on Saturday, November 5th and Saturday, November 19th in the morning from 9 to noon. Proposed improvements include organizing the existing shed so it can be used by the students, adding water catchments to the shed, building vegetable beds, building an outdoor classroom seating area. We have some expertise. And starting a pollinator garden. Many volunteers are needed for both dates. Register in the DAC-DB or contact Jody DeVoid for more information. Speaking of DAC-DB, we have a twofer coming up. Big Ash Brewing on Beachmont Avenue is happy to host a Rotary Committee Chair DAC-DB training on Tuesday, November 15th from 3:30 to 4:30. Committee chairs, Barbara Dickerson is looking for you. Barbara Dickerson is going to teach you the way of the force through DAC-DB. DAC-DB is the center hub for all of these registrations, and committee chairs in particular need to know how to use it effectively. So what better event to combine a little training with a little happy hour? It's kind of the Rotary way. Esteban Calle and the young professionals are hosting the happy hour at Big Ash Brewing right afterwards, where Steve Haber will teach us the way of the hops. If you haven't been to Big Ash Brewing, they have like a vending style beer by the ounce. You know, it's kind of remarkable. You swipe a card and you take whatever. I didn't see anybody mixing, but you could technically. The first drink on that happy hour is going to be sponsored by First Commonwealth Bank. Chelsea and Esteban, thank you very much. So again, November 15th, 3:30 for committee chairs, 4:30 for everybody else. Register in that DAC-DB system. Rotary After Hours. Our next Rotary After Hours will be hosted by Rotarians Mary and Bob Brandstetter. Mary and Bob, you guys are everywhere. Thank you very much. You are bringing the season here. Friday, November 18th, 5 to 7:30 in their home on Ashley View Drive in Marymount. Attendees should bring a beverage and an appetizer or a dessert to share and RSVP through DAC-DB. Thank you. And some good news to the family of Rotary. Congratulations to the honorary Rotarian Teddy Kramer, who was presented with the 2022 Nuxall Humanitarian Award at the Joe Nuxall Miracle League Field this past Friday, October 28th, 2022. And congratulations to Rotarian Chuck Martz on the birth of his granddaughter, Emery Susan Muller, on October 27th. Congratulations to the Martz family. Last piece of announcement, doing a casual poll. Who walked to the meeting today? We've got a handful. Let's see, 5 or 6. So who drove less than 15 minutes to get here? So let's see, it's another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And who drove more than 15 minutes to get here? That's kind of what I thought, but that's all I needed to know. Thank you very much. Let's see. Now, the board wants to know, we're having a board meeting next week. We kind of want to know where people were coming from. Who parked in the Mabley Place garage? Ooh, all right. So a lot of people. I know that it's convenient parking rules my life, so I'd like to know just how much it rules yours too. So very good. Without any further ado, I'd like to turn the program over to the Corporate Member Roundtable and our panelists, and our moderator of the day is the panel, and the Cheryl Parker, would you like to come and kick us off as part of the Corporate Member Roundtable? Great. Welcome to the podium, Cheryl Parker.
Thank you, President Steve. As we get the stage set for our panel discussion. Hello, everybody. It's good to see Club 17 once again. It's my pleasure as a member of the Corporate Member Roundtable to introduce this portion of today's lunch event. It's always an exciting opportunity because we work very hard. We have some great corporate members who are working very hard to present these panel discussions that we think you would really enjoy. So without further ado, can never get this to move. There we go. I want to tell you a little bit about the Corporate Member Roundtable in case you have not heard this information before. It's an opportunity for corporate members of the Rotary to come together and exchange ideas and really focus on opportunities for fulfilling service. Many of us were involved with the Rotary Do Days project a few weeks ago. It was a great opportunity for us as corporate members to get engaged and support this effort. We identify ways that others within corporate member organizations can become engaged, really help to create ideas and opportunities and think of ways that we can serve each other, share knowledge, develop skills. It's really, really become a wonderful exchange and opportunity for corporate members. It helps to enhance the overall corporate member experience. And we are looking for ways like the panel discussion to make it fulfilling and to make it something that everyone not only enjoys but really benefits for themselves and for members of their organizations. And of course, we want to grow the Corporate Member Roundtable. We want to have more corporate members in Rotary, and that's where we need your help. So if you know of a member, a current member, or a company or organization who you think might benefit from Rotary as corporate members of the organization, please let us know. If you can contact Brett Labar, Dan Long, or Jack Scott, we're always looking to grow the number of corporate members in our organization. Take a look at all of the logos of corporate members today. And if you are representing one of the companies and organizations that are corporate members, please stand. We want to thank you for being corporate members of Rotary. And there's plenty of room for more logos. So as I said, if you know of a member or an organization who could benefit from being part of the corporate membership, please let us know. And one of the things that we've been doing as we meet regularly is thinking about what topics would be of interest, particularly of corporate members and all Rotary members. And we can't think of one that doesn't touch everyone as much as the economy. So that is the topic of today's panel discussion, the economy, what's around the corner. To moderate, we have Doug Bolton, who is our president-elect and the president of Cincinnati Cares. Please welcome Doug.
So we have 6 questions and 3 panel members and 20 minutes. So as you can imagine, are you turning this on from the back? How we got? And I'm going to steal this chair and get it out of the way. You guys want to converge together? Awesome. So John, I'm going to start with you as our resident expert, probably Fed watcher extraordinaire, to give us what's around the corner. Are we in a recession? Give us the digest of yesterday's activity, today's market reaction. So please start us off that way.
Sure. Thank you for having me, everyone. I'm a walker, so I'm going to stand and walk.
Absolutely.
So just up front, so I will talk to a cereal box about this stuff. It'll sit there long enough. And so I also know that this is verbal form of NyQuil, so I'm going to be considerate of those in the room. So the question is, are we in a recession? And the answer is maybe. It depends on what you view as the historical definition, of course, is 2 negative quarters of GDP growth. If that's so, then we entered into a recession in the summertime. If you follow the National Bureau of Economic Research, it's a more complex methodology, and that says if you're less than almost a quarter of a lot of different health or economic health impacts declining, then yes. So complicated answer. I actually have better conversations with the folks in this room about whether or not we're in an economy or not, because what I have found is that given where you are in your business, if you're in a bank, or if you're working in industrial, or you're working in an energy sector, or you're working at a conglomerate, then your experience in this economy is going to be very different. What I do know is that interest rates are going up in order to control inflation. The Fed has raised 75 basis points for 4 times in a row. It appears that that's going to be their focus. And there even appears to be a willingness to allow some issues with unemployment to come into the market in an effort to control inflation. So if you think about that, you think about we have to control inflation, then we're going to dampen the appetite to acquire new homes, we're going to dampen the appetite to acquire new assets. All that is by design, so that we can get back to that 2% sort of focus where the Fed target wants to be. People are concerned about recession as what it means to their investment portfolios and their assets. I think it's important to keep in mind that we've only, as an economy, we've only been in a recession, I think it's 8% of the time. So it's uncommon. I would argue that it's probably a healthy sort of cleansing. We went through this massive quantitative easing. We knew that inflation was around the corner. So the chickens have come home to roost, so to speak. So in my opinion, it's not all that bad. And what's been interesting about this go-round when talking to clients about their portfolios, people seem okay with it, oddly. So again, maybe that gets back to their goals and the focus of the portfolio, but long-winded answer to the question is maybe, but with rates going up, inflation, and potentially those two impacts earnings moving into the future, it definitely stacks the deck for a higher probability of a recession.
Absolutely. So I'll let you all gather your follow-up questions to probe John. Obviously, the expert in the room on Fed watching, but 2 guys who absolutely have to live with the consequences of what the Fed is doing. Jim Yunker, you've lived through this a few more times, exactly. So what are you feeling? Are we in a recession? When is the recession going to hit if it doesn't feel like a recession?
Well, if we think we're in a recession, we are. And John has really summarized it well. In fundraising and in executive search that our firm does, it is definitely feeling a crunch. There's never a good time to do fundraising, although we've had 2 opportunities already today to step up and do some fundraising. But it's an opportunity that always exists. As I said, our firm has lived through 3 recessions, starting with 9/11 and the dot-com, 8 and 9, and then really at the beginning of the pandemic, maybe not necessarily recessions, but downturns. People continue to give. People do give. People give if there is a great need and cause, if the organization is strong, and most importantly, people ask others to join them in supporting a worthy project. So from a standpoint of fundraising, it's a little tougher. Those of you in the room, and I know a number of you are fundraising professionals, it can be tough. An organization that we have been working with for a long time just got $1 million gift last Friday night, kind of unexpected. We're working with Easter Seals of Greater Cincinnati on a $21 million campaign. They're at $18 million, and people are still giving to that. So it can be a downer, but giving is a discretionary part of your purse, if you will. From a search standpoint, it's tough as well. We can talk more about that in a bit.
Awesome. Ed, you were what, 18 years old the last time that we had a recession?
No, but maybe.
Okay, all right.
John's maybe.
Okay, all right. So definitive maybe. So Ed, talk about what you're feeling and what you're viewing from your vantage point. And if you don't all know Ed, he's a commercial real estate broker with a fine firm, Republic Real Estate. The founder of Republic used to work for me, so I can say he's with a fine firm. But he's doing a phenomenal job representing clients. What are your clients saying, and how are you feeling about the environment that we're in right now?
So I'm feeling pretty good right now. On the commercial real estate side, as a lot of us know, that it follows the residential. So the residential was extremely hot. And then with what he said, that, dampening, raising the interest rates, you're starting to see houses sit a little bit longer. They're still selling, but they're not selling as fast. But on the commercial side, I'm just sitting watching this thing happen, and things are still selling for me and my clients. They're able to put things on the market. They still got buyers out there. What you're seeing is that the interesting side to me is that you're starting to see the CEOs saying that, well, I have this space. We're able to, we got good real estate, good prices, but we can't get the talent to fill the spaces. So it's making them wonder if they need to downsize because they have the jobs versus the last time when I was a wee little lad. There was no jobs. This time it's jobs and no people to work at the jobs. So that's the interesting side to me.
So you bring up a great conversation that it is a complete overlay of the economic times that we're in. The labor market is absolutely held up throughout all of this. And then you have the pandemic's impact on the labor market and how we are now, all of us, learning how to work from home. And to your point about office owners trying to figure out what to do, how does that play into, John, your forecast now that you never really had to think about before?
Sure. So the pandemic was a very interesting thing, and someone is going to write a book sometime about it, and I'm going to read it because I don't know that anybody knows, what caused the Great Resignation. So all of a sudden, we're at full employment. Then all of a sudden go into the pandemic when you think historically people would want to sort of fortify their financial situation. They would want to hunker down. Something, I don't know if it's, they took stock. It's that sort of self-looking glass moment, if you will, where you're like, okay, what do I want to be when I grow up? Am I doing what I want to do? And this leads into the Great Resignation. And so now you're thinking about how you go about attracting employees and talent acquisition. So it's, in the past, the conversations were merit-based. Okay, this is what so-and-so is paying to acquire talent, so you have to pay this plus X. Now it's flexibility. Now it's more of a standard to their living. Whereas somebody in the past would have no issues working 40, 50 hours a week. Now it's, we'll do 40 or 50 hours a week, but we're starting at 11, we're ending at 7. I may come in on Monday, I might not come in on Friday. And what's interesting about all this is, I think lazy analysis would suggest that productivity has stopped. It's not true. As a matter of fact, the opposite happened. I noticed, so when we went into the pandemic, we had discussions at the leadership level of how do we make sure our employees stay engaged and we remain productive. And there was this concern that some people may view this as an extended vacation. The opposite happened. They became incredibly more productive, and what we noticed is I had to call people and say, hey, I actually need you to get off your computer, go be with your family, go enjoy some time. And now you're starting to see this sort of burnout happening. And so you have to manage to that. You have to manage to the flexibility. And you just have to be more conscious of the needs of the people as they've sort of rewired how they live, based off of a variety of different things. And so, yeah, it's complicated, but talent acquisition, how we recruit is completely different than prior to the pandemic, when it was just standard operating procedure: find talent, bring talent in, pay for good talent, retain them. Now it's a multi-layered cake. Yeah, so it's been more.
So Jim, how has the search firm changed in this topsy-turvy environment that we're in right now?
Again, picking up on John's flexibility that employees need to offer. We just completed a search that usually would have taken 3 to 4 months. It took us 6 months. The employer required vaccination. We had people who said, well, can I apply? I'm not going to get a vaccination. Well, no, you can apply, but you're not going to get the job. So there's that. There is the remote activity. Our son works for Corporate Kroger, works from his home in Fort Thomas. His boss is in Boca Raton. Her boss is in Denver. They see each other 2 or 3 times a year in person. So it is that flexibility. And with that job that I just referenced, we had to add a hybrid to it. We didn't that, but in a Columbus search we just finished this summer, we had to do a signing bonus. And as long as I've been doing nonprofit searches, this is the first time we've had to do a signing bonus. But when Wendy's does it for $250 signing bonus, I guess nonprofit. I did want to mention that many people say the millennials are not working. I know 2 in my family who are strong workers, and a lot of their coworkers are doing this more activity at home than they would during and going back and forth by car to an office. So I want to put a word in, a positive word for the millennials, that they may be blasted often as lazy or not productive. Now, there are some that ghost. I had actually a candidate hang up on me for asking intrusive questions, just asking about the resume. So there are some privileged people out there at all ages. But no, we've got to be much more creative. Employers must be much more creative, as well as the search firms representing them.
So Ed, I'm going to ask you to put your crystal ball in front of you and tell us what's going to happen to all this downtown real estate where there are no workers working. What's going to happen to downtown as that huge, historically largest urban center and work environment? What's going to happen to this place?
Yeah, so just to put it into perspective, the Central Business District is rentable space is about 11 million square feet. And right now, we're at about 18% vacancy. So it's about 2 to 3 million square feet just vacant. Some of that is entire buildings, tall buildings that are just empty. So what we got going on right now is it's been happening over the last 5 years, but I think COVID really ripped the Band-Aid off. You got a ton of people, out-of-town people that are coming here. They're seeing real estate priced very well compared to where they're from, and they're coming here and you got 15 hotels that are in the pipeline waiting for approval. You got 20 apartment projects that are in the pipeline waiting for approval. So you're going to see a lot of this stuff turn into what I like to say similar to the 3CDC model, the work, live, and play. One of my favorite movies is Wall Street, not to be misconstrued with Wolf of Wall Street, but that that lively downtown, everybody's here 5-6 days a week. The restaurants and all these people are making all this money off of the lunch crowd. When COVID happened, all of that stopped, and I think that almost gave everybody a heart attack to say, we got to switch this up. We got to make this 5-7 days a week we can work, live, and play downtown, and then you'll see the office buildings start to happen and the perimeters around downtown, but people will live and work and play downtown. So,
all right, we got 8 minutes left. Who's got the first question? Yes, John.
So there was a question a couple of weeks ago, I think, Ed, about 4th and Walnut. What happened there?
The Huntington building.
The Huntington building, yeah.
Yeah, so they had a group that came in. I think they were from New York. They came in and they bought and they were going to convert this into condos and, similar to what I was saying, work, live, and play type of thing. And I believe there's not a large appetite here, and it's just for me, from what I'm saying, it's not a large appetite for people wanting to buy $1 million condos here. I think it's more of an apartment. People would like to buy an apartment if they're moving here to work at P&G. They'll get a nice apartment with a view, but they're not trying to spend $1 million to have a condo. This, in my opinion, it's not, the New York or anywhere like that where people want to spend that type of money. And I think that's kind of held the project as they're trying to work through some of those intricacies to make it work.
All right, question back here to Brad.
Regarding the hybrid work at home, obviously some industries lend themselves to this remote hybrid model much better than others. Are we seeing any sort of breakdown by industry? Which ones are primarily taking advantage of this?
So industries, Jim, why don't you tack that question?
Yeah, there are a number of, in IT would probably be one. The service industry is the one where all the challenges are and all the openings. We work with a lot of developmental disability residential facilities, and direct service support staff can make more money at a Wendy's or a McDonald's than they can by the money that they're paid to work on almost a 24/7 time frame with adults with disabilities. It's a crisis for that industry. A lot of the jobs that we are working with, C-level nonprofits, obviously the executives need to be seen and in the office, but I think that the service industry is the one that's most impacted by lack of ability to offer that remote. I don't know about the banking.
Yeah, so I guess I'll just 2 seconds on this one. I think it's about engagement. It's about employee engagement. I think there's a social piece that's missing. I know I had mentioned earlier that we saw productivity actually skyrocket. We saw revenue skyrocket. But just through observational analysis and some data points, we're starting to realize that some malaise has begun to settle in. And a lot of that is because there's this missing sort of ability to go, Doug, if I want to have a conversation with you, I can walk out of my office and we can have a conversation in 30 seconds. If I'm not around you, I get on your calendar, I have to schedule out. And so there's something missing there. There's connectivity. And people are inherently social animals for the most part. And a lot of the best ideas just come organically. So unless you have that opportunity to sort of engage organically, then I think you start to see sort of declining revenue, declining engagement. So I think at some point in time it needs to be adjusted for.
Time for next question.
Yeah, just a comment question on how we got there. I mean, you go over a year ago, it's very obvious that the Fed was reluctant to do what they needed to do. They should have learned from Alan Greenspan, which led, with the low interest rates, led up to what happened in 2008 and 2009. That's on the Fed part. And of course, over on the administration side, you may say Congress and so on here, massive deficit spending will inevitably lead, therefore, with the building up of the debt, lead to inflation that was taking place. Now, those are really predictable over a year ago, but the political aspect was neither the administration or the Fed did what was necessary, and they certainly had economists that had to have been warning them of the situation to where we are now.
My son, who's a millennial, I guess, 35 years old, he recently went to work for a company called Athletic Green. They have 300 employees and no office building. And they work, there's people in Hawaii, Canada, Mexico, wherever they want to live. And instead of the cost of maintaining and buying an office building, they share the profits that would normally go into that. And they love it. It's not a question. It's the way it is lately, it seems. And they have meetings every day from 9 to 12 Eastern Standard Time. So if you live in Hawaii and you want to live in Hawaii and you participate in those meetings, that's 3 o'clock in the morning in Hawaii.
I agree. I think that's the wave of right now, is that people are downsizing all of this office space, and I think secretly, these CEOs don't want to say it, but secretly they're happy to get that real estate off the books because it was underused it was stacked up, and now it's just sitting there for years and them just not using it, and now they can enjoy that money somewhere else and get the stock holders off their back.
So lightning round, last question. What do you suggest we Rotarians do to prepare for what's around the corner? You have 30 seconds.
Well, if you own apartments building, it's your time for milk and honey, because everybody's going to be moving. The houses are just getting to the point where they're overpriced to the point where you can't afford them. And I think that they're going to start seeing stuff get stagnant, and a lot of those people are going to move into apartments. They're changing the zoning in most of these places in Cincinnati to let developers build 4 families, 6 families. They had stopped that in like the 70s. Now they're letting people to start do that again. So you're going to see stuff pop up, and I think that it's going to be time for apartment owners to shine. So I think that's where we're at.
15 seconds. Thanks, Ed. If you're asking for money, don't stop asking. Keep asking and do it in a very compelling way. Those of you who are givers, continue to give. You need to support the nonprofits.
You got 5 seconds.
5 seconds. So I would consider your financial plans, investment portfolios. It's battle tested now. It's gone through some ups and some downs. I always encourage folks in the investment world to have conversations about the total wealth picture. So liability, asset management, insurance, how are your assets titled? Do you have POA on file? There's a lot of things that you can do right now outside of traditional investments that can sort of fortify your situation. Have those conversations.
Steve, it's 1:30. Yours.
Hey, let's get a round of applause for our panel. Ed, Jim, John, very insightful comments. Thank you very much for being here. We really appreciate Doug Bolton, the best panel moderator in the known universe. We appreciate the Corporate Member Roundtable for bringing this important discussion, right? Rotary is about service, but it's also about business. And having important business conversations is also part of our programming. So we thank the Corporate Member Roundtable for making that happen. I also have a couple of last announcements. Let's see. We have a committee meeting. The classification meeting is meeting in the Julep Room on the 3rd floor. Gamble Montessori wanted to give a shout out to Sam Scoggins for his work on Gamble Montessori project. So thank you, Sam. Next week is another important conversation. We have Dr. Colleen Hanich, who's the new president of Xavier University. That would be a great opportunity to bring a guest. You have to just remember to do that a little earlier than perhaps Tuesday, right? That's a little late. So remember on Sunday to invite people to an important conversation next week. Until then, make it a great week. Meeting adjourned.